Okay, let's start with first topic from RCD. It is our second module, last paper number 6, and we'll start with first chapter, that is shareholder democracy and corporate disputes. In this chapter, we will learn about what shareholder democracy is, and also we'll go through with the majority powers, minority rules, principle of non-interference, which is very important. See, I don't have any other mode for me, so I'm just preferring this recording video. And first versus Harbottle case, and meaning of operation, meaning of mismanagement, powers of tribunal, which is very important. In each power we can have case study, so we'll go with that. And another topic, which is transfer and transmission as per section 56 of the Companies Act 2013, and punishment for personation, which is not so relevant, and class action suit, which is very relevant, and there are chances to come that it might appear in the exam because now it has an entire chapter in the module. So I'm basically taking some sort of short notes and some short topics of this topic to entire revision in a very short manner. So okay, well, first we'll start with shareholder democracy. Shareholder democracy relates to shareholder vote and otherwise exercise their power as the collective owners of the company, often against the goals of or self-interest of the incumbent management and board members and interest of the minority shareholder. So here in what we want to say is that shareholder is supreme in the corporate world basically, and in the governance of the business and affairs of the corporate share sector, either directly or through their elected representatives in the shareholder democracy or shareholder concept. So basically what democracy means? Democracy means the rule of shareholders, by the shareholders and for the shareholders. In the context of the shareholder democracy, what we can say is that rule of shareholders, by the shareholders and for the shareholders in the corporate enterprise to which the shareholder belongs, to in which company and in which enterprise, in which company there exist. Now it is not so important, that widely acclaimed, we can left it. And now under the Companies Act, here I can have a little bit announcement that you may refer your notes. I'm preferring this because I already read it through this only, so I already made my notes, so I'm basically covering with this, so bear with me. Now under the Companies Act, power basically divided between the two segments. Which are the two segments? Is that the board of directors and other is the shareholders. As per under section 179 of the Companies Act, a general power basically has conferred on the board of directors. Board of directors have generally the powers, but who are elected, basically who elected the board of directors, who basically have a role to appoint the board of directors, that is shareholders of the company. So shareholders are basically have huge power in the company itself. Now board of directors of the company shall be entitled to exercise all such powers. In this section, what we'll give, that we give some power to the board of directors, and in the another section, in the proviso of this section also, we restrict the power of the board of directors, which are specifically required to be done by shareholders in the general meeting and the provisions of Companies Act or MOA or AOA. What we can say in this context is that in shareholder concept, we basically restrict the power of the shareholders. It's also we restrict the power of the BOD, not shareholders, sorry. Thus the company has tried to demarcate the area of control of the director as well as the shareholder, that what are the areas in which the control of the directors and what are the areas in which shareholders have the power or control over the affairs of the company. Now what are the challenges in the shareholder democracy? What challenges we are facing is, despite the powerful weapon handed over to the shareholders by the Companies Act, what power basically they are talking about? Majority basically. They may deny to any resolution. Now the shareholder have not been able to use them. Most of the provision remain dead provision. as per the Companies Act. Consequently, Board of Directors of a large number of companies are elected only by few shareholders who attended the annual general meeting. Basically, all shareholders would not attend general meeting. There are only specific elected. So only the specific shareholders attend the annual general meeting, and they basically elect the BOD. And those who can muster that means assemble sufficient number of proxies and can demonstrate their voting powers, they may appoint many proxies as per the Companies Act. Now, even one proxy can be appointed for the 2 or more shareholders. Now, this is because most of the shareholders do not have enough time to spare. That they won't be able to go to the company's meeting, but they can do what they can do. They can appoint proxies, and proxies. One proxy basically what he or she will do. He or she will do in favor of only one person, na? Matlab that if like suppose one proxy is representing 10 shareholders, then in favor of whatever this proxy votes, that gives to entire 10 shareholders. That is bifurcated to entire 10 shareholders. It will not do that like for 5 shareholders I'm voting this and for 5 shareholders I'm voting this. It won't be happen. Usually it won't be happen. Now, government companies are an exception in this case. In government company, all the directors are appointed on the advice of the government by the President of India or Governor of the concerned state. Basically, whom had the power in the case of the government company? President of India and Governor of the concerned state. If we say that who appoint the governor of the state, basically the governor of the states are appointed by the central government. Hence, theoretically, perhaps we said the shareholder democracy is absolute in such companies. Here in the shareholder democracy is absolute in that companies. For shareholders have to unite and organize themselves in national, state, district level, and they get associated. It's not so important. Now we are come to the next topic, that is majority power and minority rights. In Companies Act, being an artificial person, no physical existence, that we all know that when company has a artificial legal person can be sued or be sued by another. Functions through the instrumentality of the Board of Directors, which is guided by the wish of the majority. As according to Section 47 of the Companies Act, every member of the company which is limited by share, that means every member of the company which is limited by share holding any equity share shall have right to vote in respect of such capital on the resolution placed. We already know that whom the shareholder is entitled, as per their shareholding they are entitled to vote. We know this already. Now, members' right to vote is recognized as right of property. Right of property के accordingly उनका recognize होता है, और similar rights they have as per the right of property, because they have already invested in that company, they have bought the shares, they have bought the property of that company, so it comes to be as a right of property. Now, we have a case, that is Northwest Transportation Company versus Betty. Here in this case, what was held is that the resolution of a majority shareholder passed in a duly convened meeting held in a general meeting, means there is no lacuna in this meeting, it's duly convened, held upon any question which a company is legal competent to deal, is binding upon the minority and consequently upon the company itself. So we need to remember of this case is that the Northwest Transportation Company versus Betty. In this case, what has held is that if the meeting has been duly convened, duly held, then there is no question arise that company is legal competent. It is binding on the minority basically. If any decision has been taken by the majority, that is binding on the minority if it is held properly, and if is there any lacuna, then minority have a right to go to NCLT. Now, and it's binding on the company also. It cannot be happen that company may go to the court and may say that this resolution has not been passed properly. Now, Thus majority of the members enjoy supremacy authority to exercise power of the company and generally to control its affairs. Now we know this concept that majority enjoy the supreme authority because majority have all the rights to take any decision, because if the decision has been passed by the majority, that is automatically binding on the minority if it is held properly. But second topic is this is the subject of two important limitations. Two important limitations are there. What are the limitations is we'll do by here only in this video. From next video we'll start with principle of non-interference because it is very important in this entire chapter, and we'll discuss the question also. But this is the provision of two important limitations. What are the limitations is the power of the majority of the member is subject to the provisions of the company's MOA and AOA. Means if something has specified by MOA, AOA, then the power of the majority is restricted if any clause is mentioned in AOA and MOA. Like we can insert any clause in MOA or AOA which can restrict the power of the majority. Then it is the binding on the majority that has to deal according to that AOA or MOA provisions. Company cannot legally authorize or ratify any act which being outside the ambit of the memorandum. That means memorandum से beyond जाके काम नहीं करना है. That what is want to say is an ultra virus of the company. Basically ultra virus हो जाएगा. They want to say this. We already know that if any act done beyond the MOA or AOA, it calls an ultra virus act. Beyond the power. Ultra virus means beyond the power, which is not the power has been entitled by the majority shareholders. Now here is a case of Ashbury Rail. Basically we don't need to remember this case. We already know the concept that if anything has been done beyond the MOA or AOA, that is not been that is basically called the ultra virus. We already read this in foundation itself. Now second is the resolution of majority must not be inconsistent with the provision of the act or any other statute or constitute a fraud on minority deprived of its legitimate rights. What it wants to say? It wants to say the majority must not be inconsistent with the provision of the act. मीन्स एक्ट कुछ और बोल रहा है, मेजॉरिटी कुछ और कह रही है, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. या किसी और एक्ट में कुछ और लिखा हुआ है एंड मेजॉरिटी हैज़ सम डिफरेंट ओपिनियन ऑन दैट मैटर, और कॉन्स्टिट्यूट अ फ्रॉड और माइनॉरिटी डिप्राइविंग ऑफ इट्स लेजिटिमेट राइट्स. बेसिकली वो मेजॉरिटी को सप्रेस करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. दैट शुड नॉट बी डन बिकॉज दे हैव अ लेजिटिमेट राइट्स. सो इन दिस केस व्हाट दे वांट टू से इज कि first thing they don't want to do beyond the power and beyond the MOA or MOA, and second case it should not be inconsistent with any provision of any act or provision of the Companies Act, provision of any other statutes, and it should not be in the field of it should not constitute a fraud on minority. माइनॉरिटी के साथ फ्रॉड नहीं होना चाहिए. डिप्राइविंग ऑफ दिस लेजिटिमेट राइट, उनके लेजिटिमेट राइट्स को हैम्पर नहीं पहुंचना चाहिए. ओके, बाय. विल सी नेक्स्ट लेक्चर प्रिंसिपल ऑफ नॉन इंटरफेरेंस, दैट इज कॉस्ट वर्सेस हार्बर केस. बाय.